Welcome to
The Diary of a Businesswoman.
We will give you
Thought-provoking, practical, informative business insights. Hello everybody, welcome back to Diary of a Businesswoman, our 4th episode with Charlotte
and Christine.
Yes, we are the duo that keeps on giving. I say that every time. It's going to be our catchphrase. Today we are going to talk about my favourite topic, something that I love, my first business, my first baby, and that is event planning. I love event planning. Always have, always will. Love problem solving. I love putting together ideas. I love bringing an idea to life. From paper to in person. I love everything about it. So it's probably only right that I start at the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably should start where I started. So we've got to take it back to when I was 14 years old.
Wow.
I know. The story is my local council did a Dragon's Den competition and the minimum age to enter was 14.
Wow.
So I was the youngest there by 30, 40 years, definitely.
Wow.
Yeah. So I entered and my idea was an under 16s disco and I called it Streets.
Yeah, good.
So with a Z because that was just cool.
Yeah.
It's a bit cringe now I think about it.
No, I think it's really good.
But you've got to start, everything you do starts off a little bit cringy, doesn't it? And the whole idea was to get kids off the streets.
Yeah.
And into sort of a safe place, to have a bit of fun, be with friends. So I had 2 events, very different. The same event, one went really well, the other one too popular, too many people.
Really?
And it did get a little bit chaotic.
Wow.
Yes. We reached capacity of 250 and there was probably over 100 more people waiting outside.
Wow.
I know. So to think that, and no one expected it to sell out, yet alone go beyond that. This was my idea for the Dragon's Den. I won the Dragon's Den and then I made contact. Just because I won didn't mean I could do the event.
Oh,
I just won that sort of like Dragon's Den competition. But I took it upon myself to just get in touch with the council and sort of that was my That was my way of getting in front of the people that could make this happen for me. So I made it happen. I went to meetings, team meetings with the town clerk, youth workers, police officers, social workers I think came as well. It was a whole variety of sort of professional people and they allowed me to do it. They were really happy with it. The first one was so successful, they thought, great, let's do another one. And that's when things went a little bit wrong.
So did people have to pre-buy or could they just turn up on the day?
So everyone turned up on the day.
Right.
And I knew it was going to be popular, but I didn't think I'd sell out. So I made VIP tickets.
Oh, brilliant.
Which were charged at £7, whereas if you turned up on the day, it was £5.
Right.
But if you were on the VIP list, you got a guaranteed space.
Right.
So I was
clever.
I love my little 14-year-old brain looking back at these ideas I
brilliant.
had. Yeah. How smart. And a lot of people wanted to be there, so they got put on this VIP list and had to pay more. Because back then, I say 10 years ago, there wasn't Eventbrite was probably about, but it was nothing like it is now.
No.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't
No.
like you could just book tickets like you can now. So the thought of people booking tickets didn't really come about.
It was around, but you're right, it was used for more professional things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like business networking or very big organised events.
Yeah, and now you have tickets on phones. We didn't really have phones that would have tickets on them, which it was only 10 years ago, but how advanced technology is now.
Yes, that's right. You had to print them off and bring them with you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I worked with the professional people to make it happen. It was really fun. I provided a free drink, which were like just cans of Diet Coke and Fanta. We had a DJ. I even got a performer, which is so
Wow.
cringe. And I got the local street dance. They did a performance.
Wow.
So yeah,
That's fantastic.
I was 14 years old.
Yeah.
Bearing in mind, and then the next one, I just turned 15 for the next one, and it was 2 months after my brother died.
Oh gosh.
So the first
sure,
one, my
yeah.
brother was security, and he was great. He's like me, a bit of a people person. And the second one I actually did in his memory to raise money for his memorial bench.
Oh, brilliant.
Which is still standing at the local lake now.
Yeah.
So it's funny how you do something 10 plus years ago and I'm still visiting that bench most weeks, most days, if it's
Yeah.
nice weather.
Yeah, but it is a beautiful thing to do that.
Yeah.
But how interesting, because I'm going to tell you, I think I might have told you this before, but when I was 15,
Yeah.
I was on a ship coming back from
I
Australia.
love this.
Do you remember? And
How long did that take?
6 weeks. Oh, it was fantastic. It was absolutely brilliant.
6 weeks.
Yeah, it was lovely. It was great. However, there wasn't a lot for the teenagers to do.
I love this.
Yeah, so I
similar.
too, I went to the purser, who's the person kind of in charge of things, and said, you know, this really isn't fair. There's nothing for teenagers to do. You've got children's clubs, and then you've got like the adults evening stuff, but there's nothing for children to do, for teenagers to do. So they let me organise an event.
Love it.
How funny. Wasn't half as successful as yours, but then I didn't have as big a crowd either.
Yeah.
So we did that, and someone said, I think you really need a break the ice.
Like an icebreaker.
Thank you, that's the word I was looking for,
Icebreaker,
an icebreaker.
Yeah.
So they suggested we did pairs. I don't know if you've ever done that. So you put
Oh, yeah.
you stick something on someone's back, and
Oh,
it's
no.
part of a pair.
Oh, sweet.
And they have to go and find the other pair. So
Right.
salt and pepper, strawberries and cream, that kind of thing.
Oh, that's
so,
sweet. Yeah.
So that's what we did. But I only, you know, obviously it wasn't 10 years for me. It was a lot longer ago. I kind of can recall bits of the event. We had a room somewhere that we used. And there was, most of the teenagers on the ship came that were, you know, sort of 13 to 17, although they came. But I can't remember whether we did another one, because obviously, like you say, we were 6 weeks
6 weeks
on the ship.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, we're stopping at places.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. But yes, yeah. So that's so funny
Yeah.
that at a similar age we were doing something so similar,
And all
but
it took,
all those years apart.
just to
Yours was a lot more hard work than mine, though.
I loved every
I only had
moment.
to persuade one person. You
Yeah.
had to persuade a lot.
Well, I persuaded one person, and that was the town clerk, and she just absolutely loved me.
Oh, wow.
I mean, looking back, 14, and you're sort of approaching someone with an idea, and you've got a presentation, and you're taking it seriously.
Yeah.
They will take you seriously, and they
Yeah.
will want to give you that opportunity, knowing it will sort of build your skills, build your character. I had no experience. I was not even doing exams yet. So it just shows, I think, speaking to just that one person
Yeah.
is such a good way to start.
But you must have been very persuasive, had a persuasive pitch
Yeah, well,
for them to take it further.
yeah, you have to know what you're trying to sell.
Yeah.
And that's the key message in business in general. You have to know what you're trying to sell in order to show people the gap you're trying to fill.
Yeah.
And yeah, being sort of that age, I knew there was nothing in the area. I could really play on that. Yeah, I love thinking about the starting points of my love for event planning, my love for business, self-employment. I love thinking back
Yeah.
of how it started.
That's great.
That's how it started for me.
So
Yeah.
what happened next? So
Yes.
what then turned that into a business?
Yes, so I was very disheartened by the second event. as I said, it didn't go as well. Things got broken, a lot of fights.
Wow.
It was quite chaotic. And so obviously that was the end of that. So that definitely put a spanner in my works. Never stopped loving event planning. Always loved that planning element of anything, Christmas and, friends and meals, always loved doing that. So it was about 17, I worked at the golf club, I won't say where, you never know who's going to listen. I worked at a lovely golf club, quite high end. One of the courses was within the top 100 in the world, so it was quite world renowned. And I was thrown into the hospitality section. I left school, get me out of there. I went to do what I wanted, and that was sort of hospitality. And doing that, I did captain's dinners, and I did open days. And I was bottom of the barrel, put it that way. And they wouldn't trust someone so young in a place like that. So I got into the event planning, but it wasn't enough for me to be taken seriously, but it did mean I could look at how other people was working and what they did and absorb in all of that. So me being me, after a year of being there, thought, I can open my own business now. I've worked at this prestigious golf club. I know what I'm doing. And to be honest, so from that moment, I was like, right, Charlotte Randall Events is born.
Wow.
And I was 17, just turned 18, and that is when I found the business club.
Excellent.
That is where I then came there. So my initial idea, which I wish I kept up with, my initial idea to join the mentoring programme was proposal planning. So I would plan the proposal, like wedding proposal.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And now since then, which was 7 years ago, it's really taken off proposal planning.
It has, yeah.
It really has.
Yes.
And with like TikTok and Instagram where everything's so visual, the content would have been amazing.
Yes.
And people would have paid a lot of money for the right person. So I wish I stuck with that idea. But it was the mentoring program that suggested, is there a market for this business? Are you sure? And I was like, no, I'm not sure. I'm going to just do a normal events that everyone goes to and stick with that. So it was my decision. Knowing now what I know then, but it's never going to...
It's always about timing though, isn't it?
Always about timing. Yeah. You're never going to know. Hindsight is a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
But anyway, so that opened up Charlotte Randall Events, and I thought, I'm going to use my name because it's personal. And the mentoring program basically encouraged me to reach out to local venues, to build a website. I had Facebook at the time. Instagram wasn't used for businesses at that point. So I set that business up. I worked out how much I would charge for admin time, so the sort of pre-event planning, and then I would work out how much I'd charge for on the day. So in the event planning world, there's different terms for different parts of the job you're doing. So you've got on the day coordination, which is, you're working at the event on the day. I charged £35 an hour, which feels like nothing now, but back then it felt like $1 million, £1 million. Charged £15 an hour for admin time, which again, back then, my minimum wage for my age was about £6.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, so I felt like I was like, I'm rolling in money. It felt great. And then I would have a consultation with the family, the couple, the single person having a birthday party, and I would sort of try and work out how much planning time was needed. I never got it right. The amount of events I undercharged.
Yeah.
That's going to be the journey for any business owner.
It is, yeah.
Yeah, I lost money on one event. That was quite bad.
But it's a learning curve, isn't it?
You have to be in it to learn.
You do.
Simple.
You do. Same for me. I did the same. I employed somebody. They introduced me to one of their friends who needed some help with managing a database, and I worked out that, so she did the work, but I worked out that I made no money on it at all. because by the time I paid her and lost her from the office, then there was nothing left.
Nothing left.
But it was work, and it still did pay for her, so I didn't lose money.
Yeah.
I just didn't make any money either.
Yeah, well, I lost money. And the reason I lost money is it was because someone I didn't know on a personal level, I knew on a business level. And I really I felt I didn't want to overcharge.
Yes, yeah, that is tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm so much more confident now in charging. So it was working out what I'm going to offer, what events do I want to do. And I started going to networking meetings for wedding suppliers. I'd never wanted to do weddings, but I ended up following weddings because, as you can imagine, that's where the money was. Although it wasn't just weddings I did a lot of birthday parties. I did a 40th, I did an 18th, I did a 21st. So all the sort of milestone birthdays, people always seem to want an event planner for that. And I did do a lot of weddings in between, especially it was sort of May to October was your prime wedding season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was telling you earlier about someone who thought they'd be an event planner because they really liked the idea. But what they thought was that someone came to them and said, I'm going to get married and this is the day. And they went away and did all the...
Never happened once.
No, of course not. No. As if the bride had no input at all.
Yeah.
That the wedding planner would do everything to their tastes, which is quite astounding.
It's impossible to know what someone's thinking. It's impossible to... Yeah, I think that was a bit of a shock to me, actually. I thought, the point of a wedding planner is to not have any stress. Event planner, I should say. The point of an event planner, not to have any stress. You don't have to worry about anything. You let them do everything. Every person, couple, family that came to me knew exactly what they wanted in every area. Food, entertainment, venue. They knew what they wanted. Yes. They just wanted me to sort of tie it all together.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, to do the background stuff that's kind of boring.
Yeah, the liaising with suppliers and what time are they turning up on the day. Yeah, things like the logistics behind it.
Yes.
Yeah, which is what I love.
I'd forgotten about that, actually, because, I went to my niece's wedding this year and they did it all themselves.
Wow.
But I do realise, actually, because this venue they were at had a wedding in the morning and they got married in the afternoon. It was something, the wedding was the day before.
Right,
so
that's quite common, yeah.
So they'd had a wedding the day before and there was a wedding the next day as well.
Yeah.
So having a wedding planner would take away all that stress of where the suppliers put their stuff.
Yeah.
And so the groom and the father of the bride had to be there when they arrived. And it would be so much better if someone else was doing that, who knew what they were doing, knew the venue, and would do it more smoothly almost.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not take any rubbish from a supplier who wasn't behaving.
Not turning up, they were running late, got the wrong orders. I've seen it all being an event planner. I think back then, not many venues had in-house event planners.
No.
Which is, you'd be surprised. Now, every venue seems to have an in-house event planner. Because, they realise it's needed.
But even then, they are there upon behalf of the venue.
Yes.
You are there on behalf of the bridal party.
Absolutely.
And that is a big difference.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
definitely met some hostile venue owners or maybe account managers or something that didn't like the event planner coming in and sort of
which is mad,
running the show, but that is literally what I was paid to do.
But it's short-sighted because actually it makes their life an awful lot easier.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've got somebody there who's going to do all the running around that they don't have to do.
Yeah.
They're going to take all the stress out of the bridal party for you.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense why you would be anti an event planner unless it was just about the commercial side of it. If you bring in your own event planner, then you don't use theirs that they would charge you for, if you see
Yeah.
what I mean.
Yep.
But
I'm glad you mentioned running around, because that is what an event planner is.
Yeah.
People think it's a very glamorous job. A lot of Christmas films about wedding planners, I've seen them all, or event planners, and it's not glamorous. You cannot walk around in high heels because you're on your feet. Longest event day I had was working on 20 hours.
Wow.
ADHD came in handy, because I just didn't run out of energy, because I was so in the zone of this needs doing, that needs doing. I was there from setup. I was meant to have a break in between. Supplies were delayed. Everything went wrong. So I couldn't. And it is a case of, and then you're there till what? Gone 11, 12 at night.
Yeah.
So early start, late finishes.
It depends on the venue, doesn't it?
Yeah. So this was actually in someone's house.
Oh, that's worse.
Beautiful house.
Yeah.
It wasn't a house. It was a mansion. Wow.
Yeah.
But then those are the ones with the budgets have event planners.
But also they can be the ones that can go on and on
and on and
Yeah.
on. And some naughty things were happening.
Yeah.
Naughty substances were used.
Oh, wow.
I've seen all of that. Yeah. And you have to just do your job and keep quiet.
Focused. Yeah.
Focused. It gets a bit awkward.
Interesting. That I think it's really sad that
At weddings as well.
Yeah,
At
that you
weddings.
feel that you have to have that substance to have a good time.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Oh,
But yeah, wow, so you have seen it all, haven't you?
Oh yeah, you as an event planner, you see it all. You're either running out for milk, you're steaming a wedding dress or a bridesmaid's dress, you're running after children, or you're picking up their sort of half-chewed sweets off the floor. It's not a glamorous job, and you really are doing every part of that event, no matter what that is, from cleaning to laundry to it's
Wow.
to be an event planner, you have to be willing to do anything within reason. Of course.
Anything and everything, isn't it?
Yeah, you have to be willing to you have to be a problem solver.
Yeah.
And you have to remain calm under pressure.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, where a lot of people would struggle with event planning, is remaining calm when most things are going wrong.
Yes.
And I'm quite lucky to be like, right, that's gone wrong. How can we fix it? What
Yes.
needs to be done? I'm so lucky I have that brain that's like, right, that's the problem. It's happened. It's happening. What's the next step from that?
Yeah.
So that's why event planning, I think event planning will always be in my life, but you have to be a problem solver and calm under pressure. So offering the event planning services, offering on the day coordination, I worked with different weddings and birthdays, and it was great. I knew any business, trading your time for money isn't always the best strategy, because you're then only limited to your time. So I knew I had to branch out, and I had to have multiple avenues of income to sort of boost up that money. And I knew it had to be something that didn't involve all of my time. So that is where my wedding bouncy castle idea was born. And I got a handmade white wedding bouncy castle. I went the extra mile and I decorated it in a little picket fence with roses and rose petals, and I matched the decorations to their colour scheme.
Wow.
So it was that extra layer of love and bespoke uniqueness, and people love that. My dad was then hired for the business, which was hilarious. Dad came along. Dad was Bouncy Castle man. And those bookings, I got about £295 per booking.
Wow.
I don't know if I should be sharing numbers, but people people are nosy, aren't they? I know I would be. So I wasn't there. I would help Dad set up maybe, and I'll do the pretty bits that he struggled. First baby, that's event hire. So that is where you hire things out for events. That was my first baby in my event hire part of the business. My next baby was my candy car. Beautiful candy car. Again, I got a carpenter made it, and I picked it up hours away. I don't know where now. We picked it up and it all came apart so we could sort of get it in with the bouncy castle. and then I'd offer sweets and decor and things like that around the candy cart. And then I had a Prosecco wall.
Oh.
And then I had a flower wall. And then I got, lastly, surprisingly, I got a white ball pit to match the bouncy castle. And then the balls would match the colour scheme. I had a lot less balls, so it was a little bit hit and miss. But yeah, so in the end, that was like my package deal.
Yeah.
So obviously I needed transport. So I bought a box trailer. The bouncy castle had to be serviced every year. I had to have the blower, the generator pat tested. I have to have extension cables pat tested. I had to have certificates, risk assessments, insurance. So there was it sounds fun and games, but there was a lot of work behind the scenes. But the thing is, you get the service for the year. That's it for the year.
Yeah.
Dad could run the bookings, and then I started adding. My dad was willing to stay at the bookings, and then I'd charge extra for supervision.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which parents loved.
Yeah.
Because my dad said there would be children bouncing for 6-7 hours at a time, just all day.
God grief.
Energy to burn.
Yeah.
He said he couldn't believe it.
Which would suit the parents, because then they'd be tired in the evening,
entertained. Someone's actually looking,
after them,
supervising them.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so I mean, Charlotte Randall events grew and grew, and I did all sorts of. It did turn into just weddings, really, because everything was white. Everything was aimed at weddings in the end, which I didn't want to go down, but I followed the money.
Yeah, the demand as well.
The demand, supply and demand.
Yeah,
it's annoying that you. But I wanted to make some money. I wanted to prove that I didn't need to get a job. So yes, that was Charlotte Randall events for a good 3 or 4 years until COVID. Until COVID-19. Yeah. I've never picked myself back up from that. The events industry, a lot of industries were hit, but the events industry, turmoil. Smashed apart. Yeah. And not only, I don't know if people won't remember as well as I do, they would say, right, weddings, things stopped for a while. When they did eventually get allowed again, it was 30 people, social distancing, you could only sit down. People didn't need my services. They couldn't have a bouncy castle. They couldn't have candy carts where people were sharing utensils. So I had a lot of couples freaking out because people were losing money. You had Martin Lewis saying, get your money back now, you're entitled to it. And I felt it was only right to give everyone their money back, but but some of that money was spent on upkeep of business, wages. So it really floored me. Yeah. And I'm gutted because I don't let things get me down like that. But I did. It really threw me off. I never did pick it back up because of the...
It was hard.
It was really hard. And then sort of family circumstances and things, and the capacity to do the business I once had wasn't there. The bouncy castle was sat for a few months. It was getting mouldy. Storage. The list goes on. But the events industry really took a while to get back.
It did, yeah.
I think it's back now, to be honest.
Yes, I would agree, but it has taken a long time.
It took a long time.
Because it was March 2020 when we went into the first lockdown.
Yeah. And
really, here we are in January 24, and I think you're right. It's only the last 6 months, really.
Oh, it's 100% back to...
Yeah, that sort of social element. People have felt really, really comfortable.
Yeah.
To get back out there and do wild and wonderful things.
Yeah.
But it was a tough time, very tough.
Yeah, a lot of industries were hit, but I know, speaking from experience, the events industry really, really took its toll. I know a lot of suppliers that went out of business.
Yeah.
And it was so sad to see. But I like to be positive, and the things I've learned, the things I did, the events I was a part of, over 100 weddings I did.
Wow.
Charlotte Randall Events did over 100 weddings, whether that was castle, candy cart, both, wedding planning, you name it, I did it.
Wow.
How amazing to say I've been a part of that many happy occasions. Yes. So yeah, and I'm never saying never. I would love to say I'd go back into event planning at one point in my life again, because I love it.
Yeah. I think you've got to get past the hurt.
The hurt,
Yeah, because COVID hurt so many people. You've got to kind of pick yourself up and get past that.
Yeah.
And feel comfortable that the hurt isn't going to happen again.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's it financially as well, knowing that I mean, I was 17 living at home. There's perfect time to start a business.
Yes.
You've not everyone, I can't speak for all, not everyone has much financial responsibility at that age.
No, you're right.
Go for it.
So, yes.
Go for it if you can. If you are living at home and you've got just your phone bill coming out or something so simple, when else is there going to be a perfect time to throw yourself into something and learn on the job? It might not last forever. My Charlotte Randall events didn't last forever, and at times it was doing so well.
Yes.
I never thought it would end. Never thought this would go wrong. People were booking, people recommending me, people were reviewing me. It was it's lovely to reflect back on that time, actually.
What tips can you give to people for planning an event? Any kind of event, really. Well, let's say a social event, and then we'll come on to the business events.
A social event, right. So like a birthday.
Yeah, a wedding even.
Engagement, social events. The first thing you need to do is find a date and a time and get that out to everyone you would want to come. Because the amount of people that left it so last minute, and then the sort of people on holidays and things. Always be mindful of school holidays, term times, bank holidays. Prices go up a lot around these times because it's a popular time. Having a venue. Always look for alternative venues because they're always cheaper. There's an amazing farm a few miles from here, and they let you set up marquees. They have a lake running through with a bridge. And someone had a wedding reception there, and it was... 20% of the price of a venue, and it was beautiful, and it was in the fresh air, and the marquee was amazing. Marquees, I love a marquee event.
Yeah, I do.
They are the marquees you can get now.
Yeah.
Wow.
Fabulous, aren't
Fabulous. Surrounded by lights and the chairs and the decor that you can fit in a space of a marquee is, So
it's amazing.
Yeah, if you're looking at a lot of people, definitely consider a marquee. Even finding a local farmer or someone with a bit of land, such a cheap way to have a lot of people in one place.
Because you can get really decent toilets now. I mean...
Oh, the toilets are wow. You never thought you'd say that, would you? The toilets are amazing, the things you can get. Yes. So the first thing's a venue, considering your time of year, the season. Always book as early as you can for entertainers, for florists, for event hire, caterers. I love a barbecue.
Yes.
I had a lot of hog roast because they're quite, I won't say cheap, they're one of the cheapest ways to feed so many people.
Yes.
And you've got a bit homemade coleslaw, a bit potato salad. I love a hog roast. I love a barbecue. No, I don't like a hog roast, actually. I've got flashbacks of those, won't go into it.
No.
Yeah, no, but the food and,
I love a barbecue because I think you can do so much with a barbecue.
You can.
You could do vegan items.
Yeah.
You know, I love vegetable kebabs.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, on the skewers.
Yum. Yeah, they're brilliant.
Oh, making me hungry.
So there is so much you could do with a barbecue. And I think it's always has an element of fun straight away.
It's so sociable.
Yeah, it is.
A barbecue. Yeah.
Yeah.
So many advantages. If you are having a wedding, feed your guests. Don't wait until 5, 6, 7 o'clock. Yeah, that expression.
You're right.
Feed your guests. Have canapes. Have a buffet table. Have donut walls. Have sweet tables. Pick a mixes.
Ice cream.
And always remember the evening time. There's like toasty vans that used to come, or pizza vans. They were
wow.
so that's sort of 9, 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
Really good.
How clever.
Yeah, so you can never have too much food. Always offer food to the people that are working on the event for you.
Oh, brilliant.
Do you know how far that goes? I must say, I was well looked after by the people I was helping and supporting.
Yeah.
I was always well looked after, always had lovely food. And it just makes you want to do a better job for them.
Yes.
And you've got waitresses and waiters and serving staff on their feet for 8, 9 hours, bar staff. Let them have a bit of food.
Yeah.
Even if you maybe bring some nibbles for them outside of that. Check the venue regulations though, because venues don't like you bringing your own food and drink, because there's surcharge. Corkage, that's the word. Corkage charge
can be phenomenal.
Yeah. I could go on forever. I would never recommend having an open bar unless you have budgets, because people were very shocked. They'd say, I don't have a budget. But when they got a bill for £6,000-7,000, all of a sudden they had a budget. That was difficult.
Yeah, because what you could do is an open bar up to a limit, can't you?
Up to a limit. What I loved, one couple threw a dice, and if you land on an even number, you got a drink. If you land on an odd number, you paid for it yourself.
Oh, how clever.
How good is that?
That's so cool.
Yeah, their bill ended up being about £2,000, which is still a lot of money. But, it softens the blow a bit, doesn't it? Yeah. We're lucky now. Pinterest, TikTok, Instagram, blogs. We have so much content of people that want to share tips to do it yourself. Yeah. Yes. I will always say an event planner is a really good resource to have, because they have access to suppliers. They could probably get a bit of money off for you, which eventually pays for themselves. And the time and stress they save you is, if you can put a value on that, is worth it. Yeah. Absolutely. And think of your entertainment, because if you've got loads of kids, you've got adults, we need a bit for both.
I agree. I've always... my niece's wedding, she only had one child there, and that child was probably about 10 or 11, so I always consider that. Yeah. Whereas I always think what people don't understand is that they change the dynamics. And I explain this to people, because I don't have children, but being at events and children are just running up and down the dance floor, and you want to have a dance, it just takes the edge off it. It makes it a children's party instead of an adult celebration. Have a babysitter at the wedding.
That's a brilliant idea.
It was the best wedding I've ever been to, because they set up their own little creche. There was 3 of them, and they had soft play.
Excellent.
And they had colouring, and they had a little food and drink, so they didn't need to leave. And the parents could enjoy themselves.
Yeah.
And they could just...
And the kids had fun.
And the kids have fun, because kids at weddings... Or even sort of your mum's 60th.
Yeah.
Kids get a bit bored. They've had their food, had a bit of drink.
Yeah,
not
now
alcohol.
what? So all they can do is run around and it's actually, I agree, it's not their fault.
It's not their fault. It's boring, it's long.
Yeah.
Especially weddings. You've got hours for photos, and you've got speeches.
Oh, God,
and, oh, dear.
The photos.
People ask me, have you planned your wedding? And I say no. Surprisingly, I have not. But one thing I will not have is staged photos.
No.
Boring.
Yeah.
I'm not standing there for that long.
No, at my niece's, I think they took over 2,000 photographs.
Yep. Standard.
And on that side, I downloaded them, because you could download. Yep. She'd obviously paid for that. But it was like,
scrolling through them was so boring because they were the same pictures, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Just slightly different. I mean, there were some beautiful ones of our family, which were beautiful.
Yeah.
But it just took such a long time. My mum said, "Oh, you haven't shown me the pictures." And I thought, there's no way she'd look through 2,000 pictures.
It's a long-winded thing. And
Yeah.
I prefer video.
Yeah, they didn't do a video.
Yeah.
That really shocked me because I find it really lovely. I mean, videos were, well, actually, cine films were around when I got married. But of course, it just wasn't the done thing. You had a photographer and that was it.
Yeah.
And videos came in later than that. But when I look at some of the more wealthier people who did have someone taking a cine film, and you have those ones from the 70s and 60s, you think, wow.
See, my dad used to do wedding videoing.
Did he?
Back before he met my mum, so
Wow.
80s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were just, I mean,
yeah.
it got to the point where you would have to have a video.
Yeah. Videos are amazing.
I think so.
Videos are so wonderful. Photos are amazing as well, but videos take it for me. The voices, the movement, the realness.
Yes.
Yeah, I will always recommend a videographer, and don't be afraid to pay big prices for them because they are pricey.
Yes.
But I love this saying, photos and videos the only form of time travel we have.
Yes. That's true.
So true.
Absolutely true.
The only things we can look back on are those. So if you've got the budget for it,
do it.
Put value on your memories, because years to come, the quality of that, especially now with the cameras and sound. Yeah, capture the memories, enjoy the day. Weddings, they blink and they're over with, and yeah, you're so busy trying to wow other people that sometimes you forget to enjoy the memory you're living in. So yes,
I always give a tip to a bride. I say, take one moment in the wedding where you stop and you look around and you hold that moment, and you'll be able to bring that back to your memory. And it is a lovely thing to do, and I've told it to a lot of brides, and afterwards they've said to me, I did what you said and you're right. I can keep on recalling that, and a video helps you to do that.
Absolutely.
The photographs are great, I agree with you.
It's better than nothing.
But looking at what was happening at my niece's wedding, there would have been some great video.
No.
Really, really great. Like you say, photographs are beautiful, but the movement, the people who might not be with us for much longer, you capture all of that for prosperity as well.
Yeah, longevity, memories.
So you have worked with some, what is now known as bridezillas.
Bridezillas, I love this term, yes.
Yeah.
They, as much as you can say an event planner will take the stress away from you, it is still very stressful. Yep. And I have worked with them, and they've always apologised, and they've always thanked me, and they've always been very good in the end.
Yeah.
But yes, tensions run high at a wedding. An event, but a bridezilla is obviously, at a wedding. They can test your patience, scream and shout, a lot of swearing. Normally when they're getting ready and the makeup artist is taking longer than expected and their bridesmaids are not done and the flower girl's running round and the page boy's not there, and that is the time that tensions are rising and you can feel the tension in the air. So my advice on that is have a makeup artist and do trial runs. I know it costs money and I know it costs time, but in order to save your time on the day and actually know what timings to put in your day, what time to arrive at the venue, it's invaluable, to be honest. It will make your day run so much smoothly if you can have expectations met. Caterers being late for food, people get hangry. Have you heard that term?
Oh no, hangry. Yeah, it's a good one.
Hungry because you're angry. Well, angry because you're hungry. Yeah.
Yeah, that is good.
That is good. I've had a lot of frustrated guests because they just want to eat, and the wedding breakfast is not for a few hours. Wedding breakfast is the first meal you have as a couple. So people are like, breakfast? What?
Why is it called that? Yeah.
Why is it that at 5, 6 o'clock in the evening? Well, it's because it's the first meal after.
You have together.
You have together after you've been wed. So, yes.
Aww.
Weddings don't have to be religious either. You can have celebrants. A lot of venues now, you can get married at the same place you have your reception.
Yeah, that's what my niece did.
Yeah, as long as you have the right licensing. Celebrants. I always recommend booking a celebrant or a registrar as early as you possibly can.
Yeah, and meeting them.
Yeah, it's a whole thing. People think that's on the last on the list. It's probably
it's not. Yeah,
first on the list.
Yeah.
Follow on with the events. So we'll talk about business events next, because I haven't even spoken about any of the business
we've not
things
touched
I've
on
done.
them. Yeah.
That's quite an interesting topic in itself, and that's where I really wanted to take the business.
Yeah.
And I can see me taking that side, like more business events as I kind of grow and get older. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know that I've been involved in a lot of business events, and of course they do form an important part of the marketing mix for a lot of companies. But I've got some really good tips for you about events and attending events. So
Christine's expertise in marketing, go and look at our previous video, marketing. Right, I think that's enough from me. So thanks everybody for joining us for another podcast episode. We will see you next month on the 28th. I've been Charlotte.
And I'm Christine.
Bye.
Bye.